Put your hands together. Ricky Lawson.
Did you get it? All right.
And currently what I'm doing, I'm working on a couple of different projects. I have my own recording studio in the city of West Covina, and I've been blessed to be able to be involved in some really good projects. We're doing Peebo Bryson right now. We're doing Smokey Robinson, his album. I'm working on a Yellowjackets reunion project with Robin Ford on guitar, Jimmy Haslip on bass, Russell Ferrante on keys, and old Knucklehead on drums. And then I'm working on my own solo project, Ricky Lawson and more friends, you know, so doing a lot of cool things. And one of my first big opportunities, I grew up in Detroit, Michigan. I started playing when I was about 15 and a half. I'm 52 now, and no drinking, no smoking. Yep. Because I was always saving my money to buy my instruments, so I mean, I'm not gonna waste it on cigarettes. I mean, when I was a kid, cigarettes were 30 cents, and when they went to 35, I quit. I said, man, I might not, because I had a mini bike too, you know, and so I needed gas for my mini bike. So it was either smoking a cigarette or putting gas in my mini bike. Nah, mini bike, drums, But I used to play locally in Michigan, and one of my first big breaks was working with a vibe player named Roy Ayers. He was the one that took me out of Detroit, and Roy lived in New York City. I have also an uncle who used to work for Motown. Motown was in Detroit, Michigan. His name is Paul Reiser, R-I-S-E-R, and he would get me on sessions when he could. You know, my little nephew, and I'm, hey, and I got my little drumstick. So I'm trying to get in. And my uncle, he was a really, really cool guy. He arranged Ain't No Mountain High Enough for Diana Ross. He arranged Papa Was a Rolling Stone. He arranged Heard It Through the Grapevine. He did the theme for Car Wash. He wrote the song What Becomes of the Broken Hearted, and that was my dad's brother. And actually, I was born William Reiser III. And my mom remarried a guy named Ricky Lawson. And Ricky was a nickname because I was born around the same time that little Ricky was on Lucy. And so my grandmother said, nickname him Ricky. So in my neighborhood, everybody called me Ricky. In school, everybody called me William and Bill. And so that's how I became Ricky Lawson. And so later on, you know, started playing drums, hanging out with my uncle. And Roy Ayers took me out of Detroit. And I got the gig because the original drummer was late to the gig, okay? Most of the gigs that I've gotten that were really, really cool gigs were because somebody was late and I was on time. Michael Jackson's gig, when I did the Michael Jackson Bad Tour, the drummer that was actually supposed to do the gig, he was late doing another tour. So he couldn't get off of that tour to do Michael Jackson's tour. And I just happened to be in town. I was doing recording sessions up at Tito Jackson's studio, and the tour manager was putting the session together. He said, Ricky, are you available to do some rehearsals with Michael? We're getting ready to do a tour, and we need some help. I said, let me check my schedule. Of course, nothing was on my schedule, but I wouldn't let him know. And so I said, sure, I could do it. And then we found out that the drummer was going to be a little bit late. So they said, well, can you do the dress rehearsals? I said, let me check my schedule. And of course, every time they ask me, now I have the upper hand in the situation. So I did the dress rehearsals. They said, okay, the drummer's going to be a little bit late. Can you do the first week of the tour? Let me check my schedule. And, you know, it's all down to dollars and cents. I told them what I wanted for the gig. They said, cool, because, of course, I did all the rehearsing. I knew all the material. I could fit into my costume, no problem. And so Roy Ayers was one that I got. That was my first big one, working with Roy Ayers. I did an album called Everybody Loves the Sunshine. I did that when I was in high school. And then, of course, I played with George Duke and Dugu Chancellor, who became a friend of mine. When he left George Duke, he said, okay, I want you to audition for this gig. And I've already put my name on it. So all you got to do is just go in and play, be Ricky Lawson, play your thing. I went in, got the gig, and that really changed my career as well, because I had the chance to either be a part of the Jacksons' 5 band or play with George Duke. And I said, wow, Lord, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Because both of them were really, really great gigs. But I said, if I learn how to play, I'll never have to worry about a gig. And playing with George Duke played everything. He played jazz, he played funk, he played fusion, he played Latin, he played blues. He played the whole thing. But the Jacksons, they just pretty much, dance, 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 wee, Not that that wasn't cool, because the pay was really great. And but I said, if I learn how to play, I'll always be able to work. And so I took the George Duke gig. It got me on a bunch of George Duke's albums and things like that. And it just opened up a bunch of doors. So I've really been blessed. Not that I was the best player, but I was always on time, and I was always a team player, always. So those are some of the things that the Roy Ayers thing was the first one. And then it just kept being blessed, one after the other, one after the other, and being here.
Thank you, Ricky.
One of my major influences is a gentleman who passed away a little while back, a gentleman named Tony Williams. Yeah, that was one of my major influences. And another great drummer, Ndugu Chancellor, and another great drummer, Harvey Mason. And between those 3 guys, there's nothing that you can't get done. Nothing. I mean, nothing. And they're good guys. They're good people. And that's what's important for me first, is that you're a good person. The drum thing or anything else that you're into is just extra. You got to be a good guy. Harvey's great guy. Ndugu Chancellor, great guy. Tony Williams, great guy. Unfortunately, Tony passed away, but his music and his style of playing and his influences still live on. I listen to him all the time. And so those are 3 big influences. And then the guy that just really almost made me want to quit was I went and saw Billy Cobham play. And this was back when he had the album out called Spectrum. And the Brecker brothers were playing in the horn section. And I went to the concert, and my man in the front, he had 3 bass drums. I was just trying to play the one I had. This cat had 3 in the front. He probably had about 10 toms across the front, because he had these north drums that kind of went out like this. In the middle of those 2 drums, it was another 3rd drum that went out. So he had maybe 10, and then he had 2 more bass drums behind him up in the air like this. And I saw that cat play. I said, man, I'm going home and get under the bed, because this cat he's on crack. I mean, to be able to set it up is one thing, and then to play it. And he could play it. I mean, and he's another great guy. I know him personally. But these are guys that I listen to, and the Lord has blessed me to be able to become friends with these guys. I can walk up to any of them right now, and it's just like, kids. Hey, Billy. Hey, Harvey. Hey, Ndugu. And so those are the majors for me. And of course, you have Alvin Jones, Art Blakey, Max Roach. Those guys, I mean, they go without saying. If you want to play and really play right, what I was able to do was I enjoy going back into my history, and that's what you guys should do, is go back and find out why it is that we play the way that we are. And one reason that we do is because all these guys before us, and man, if you go and do some research, you'll find some incredible music. That's why most of the rap cats, they're sampling old stuff, because that's the good stuff, you know. And you do the same thing with drummers, bass players. I used to play the bass, but I got a synthesizer, so I'm doing this now. And but go back and do some research, and I'm telling you, boy, it will scare you to death. You guys, you know, you'll find out about 45s and LPs and things like that. Yeah, man, it's scary. You know, I have some LPs at home. My dad has LPs that are different colors. I used to do, as a kid, I used to put them on my eyes, you know, like trying to do the 3D thing, and he'd come and see my fingerprints on it. Ricky, get yours. Yeah. But really, go back and do some research, and you'll find some incredible musicians, incredible music as well. That'll be hopefully inspirational to you for what you want to play now. I learned to play all the styles of music because I grew up in an environment where they played a lot of R&B, Motown. But then playing the other stuff makes it easier for me to play R&B. You know, it's like a meal. When you sit down to the table, you just don't eat just the meat or the vegetables or the dessert. It's the whole thing all together that makes the whole total meal. And I kind of treat music like that. You know, I just don't play R&B. I just don't play jazz. I just don't play funk. I just don't play Latin. I put it all together, and it's really a lot of fun, really a lot of fun, because you'll come up with new ideas. You'll run into new people. You know, and it's just a great thing. Great thing. How long have you been playing? All right. Well, don't stop. We need you. All right? All right. Well, I play from my heart. I play from my heart, and I've been blessed to play with some good musicians. When I first started playing, I was actually the weakest guy in the band, but I was passionate about what it is that I do. And my punishment was that I couldn't play my instrument. You know, my dad put me on the punishment, man. I said, no, I'll paint the house. I'll re-roof the house. I'll paint your car. Don't take my drums. And so what I would do, I mean, I was just passionate about it, man. I was like, oh, no. And I would practice. My neighbors wanted to beat me up because I'd be practicing like midnight, 1 in the morning, and it's, man, if you keep that noise up, I'm going to come over there and knock your eyeballs out, you know. But I just practice. It's in the repetition. It's in listening to a lot of different music and playing with a lot of different musicians. And I was telling Fred and Tim that what I used to do too, and I still do it, I play for practicing, and then I spend a few days just listening. I won't even touch my instrument, just listening, practicing listening, because that's how you learn how to play with other musicians and be able to make magic, is listening. You know, the bass player listening to licks that he played. Oh, wow, that was cool. The piano player. Oh, wow, that was cool. And it's the interacting that makes it work. And over the years of just playing, I played in gospel groups. I played in the marching band. I was a cat that carried the bass drum. I mean, I was trying to play. If it was some music going on, I was either playing in it or looking at it, some kind of way. You know, like you see cats that play these buckets and barrels on the street over here. I went to New York, and there was some cats like that. Man, I'd be right there checking him out, you know, listening. Why is it doing like this? Why is it moving like this? How can he keep it up? You know, how come they play this way together? How come he plays this way when he's with that guy and plays this way when he's with this guy? It's just over and over, doing it over and over, and playing it and watching as much as you can. When guys are playing, go watch them. Get DVDs. You guys have DVDs now that you can listen and study. And I've just been blessed to be able to do it. Like a lot of times when I play with tracks and stuff, I don't put headphones on. I want to treat it as if I'm listening to the guys and the rest of the band. So I have to listen to make sure I'm not speeding up, I'm not too slow, but I'm really right in the pocket. A lot of guys wear headphones, which is cool, but I enjoy doing it like that because it keeps my chops sharp for when I have to go and play with a band. I enjoy sitting in with different groups. I'll go in a club and, you know, hey, you want to sit in? Sure. And I may not know the music, may not be able to, you know, have the drums where I want them. I'll leave them right there and just say, okay, see if you can make it happen this way. And I work it out. And it's cool, you know, but it's practicing, it's hanging, it's watching, it's listening, and it's doing it, you know. And anything that I can do to help you with it, I'll help you. I do a lot of things that, like I'll do kick drum patterns for 30 minutes and just do it over and over, same tempo, 30 minutes. I'll be eating a sandwich or reading a book, and I'll just keep it and do it real slow. It's hard for cats to play slow, I'm telling you, and play consistently and play slow. So I would practice things slow, I practice them fast, and you build up certain muscles in your legs, in your back, in your arms, in your neck, and I always try to smile when I play because it's fun. I have a ball when I play, so that's part of it too. But it's in the repetition. It's in the repetition. And it'll come to you. The Lord will bless you. Boom. One day, I got it. Thank you, Jesus. You know? Because a lot of times I don't see it. You guys hear it better than I do. And I really try to stay humble with it. And I'm telling you, man, it's a blessing because, you know, I put my pants on the same way you did. I mean, I got a natural. You got blah, blah, blah. It's cool. It looks good. But, I mean, we're the same. We really are. And, you know, you do your thing, I do my thing, and we just kind of help each other, you know. I'm telling you, because, you know, a lot of the cats, they want to put themselves up on the pedestal. No, man, we got to come down. We got to help each other, you know, reach back and grab cats. Come on, man, you can do this. Shit, I got it. You go get it, you know. And if you don't get it, come back. We'll hang and work together, and I'll dive in there. And when I can't, you know, like roller derby, you know, the cat takes it, throw the guy around. Come on. And, you know, because I'm good for that, man. Fred will tell you, you know, I'll turn the cat on. I keep a full tank of gas, or I come to your pad, you know, because I want you to get it. Cats call me over the phone. Listen to this. I'm on my cell phone, Jack. It's going ding, 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 you know, but it's okay, you know, because I want to help you, you know. So I've done it. I've done it where I've pieced the drums together. I played the hi-hat by itself. Then went back, played the snare by itself. Then went back, played the kick by itself. Played the toms by themselves. Played the crashes by themselves. Because that's what the people wanted. So, you know, you're like hired help. So, you know, okay, how should we approach this? Let's try it this way. Let's try it that way. And they're paying you, so you can hang as long as they, I mean, even if they're not. I mean, it's cool if you're getting paid, because then you can really hang. But I've done it that way. I've done it where I had to play the whole kit together. It's a tune called Michael Jackson's Shake Your Body Down to the Ground. That drum pattern was pieced together where the hi-hat and the kick and the snare is one pattern, and then the toms and all that is another pattern. And let me see if I can still play that, boy. I hope rigor mortis ain't set in. Hold on. Woo! So that's one part. That's one part.
But then on the gig, you got to play all that stuff together. So it's like, what the heck? Michael's talking about. Michael, get hold to a candy bar, a little chocolate bar. My man like, come on, keep up. So it depends on what they need, Yes. And ultimately, guys, as drummers, our job first is to play good time. First. I don't care what else is going on. If you ain't playing good time, you got to play good time first. That's our job as drummers. And then, secondly, we got to make it feel good. So when I was doing a little Thriller thing, I just put that little thing on the end there. I said, how can I flip this a little bit? And I just fooled around and came up with that little thing. And, oh, yeah, that feels good. Ooh, let me try that. And it still worked with inside it. So that always stayed constant. But then you can play with it as long as you keep the engine going. And it worked out great. So I said, yeah, that's cool. But it comes from practicing. It comes from hanging, trying new things. And when I'm working with dancers or singers, I'm very, very sensitive to them, because I'm always, anybody that I play with, I'm always listening first because it allows me to see how far I can venture out, what to do and what not to do. A lot of times it's not what you play. A lot of times it's what you don't play that they love. Man, why is this cat back there bashing and crashing? Oh, I like him because he plays simple, But, you have to read it. You got to watch and you got to listen. And it'll really, really help you, with things like that when you have to play behind dancers or singers. But I just love to play. So first, good time, guys. If you don't play good time, they're going to send you home without a check. And I tell these guys, too, I said, they can call anybody the first time, but they don't call everybody back. And the gig is getting called back. So if you get called back, you're in the mix. Because they can call anybody the first time. Okay, second time, don't call him, bring her back, bring him back, blah, blah, blah. I'm telling you, and that's how it works.
About that.
Well, in the beginning, I was just happy to play. I was traveling, man. I was making $25 a show, doubling up in hotels, because I was staying at the pad with Mom, so I really didn't have any bills. All my car was paid for, my drums were paid for. But as I got older and had more responsibilities, then I said, okay, I at least have to make my rent and pay my lights, gas, keep a roof over my head. So I at least got to make, say $500 a week. And different gigs will, they can afford to pay you more money. Like Michael Jackson's gig can afford to pay me more money than playing with the Yellowjackets. When I was playing with the Yellowjackets, I was making basically about $4,000 a month playing with the Yellowjackets before taxes. When I got the gig with Lionel Richie, I was making almost 30 grand a month. And then going to Michael Jackson, it was almost 40 grand a month.
I guess it just depends on the artist,
It just depends on the artist.
Okay.
Almost in those figures, but they can afford to pay that.
Did you when you first got your first paying gig, it wasn't a gigantic artist, right?
No, I was making $25 a gig.
So so it started up there and then went up from there.
It went up from there.
Wow.
I left the pad with Moms but see, what's jacked up now is that the cats that are out there now, they don't want to pay you cats. And they got the bread. They rather spend it on jeans and rims than to give it to you cats.
The spinning rims, right?
Yeah,
Those ones?
Yeah, even those.
The holograms and shit?
The ones, you got it on necklace that's spinning, But they'll pay the cats like, they pay you guys like $1,500 a week. That's ridiculous. And these cats are playing like the Staples Center. You know who they are. And they only want to pay the band like $1,500 a week or $2 grand a week or, $3 grand a week. And that's a lot of money. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong, that is a lot of money. But they can afford to put their money into the cats that's really supporting them as band members. I remember I used to play with Bette Midler. Bette used to play at clubs or auditoriums that were roughly about maybe 1,000, maybe 1,500 seaters. But she was paying us $4,000 a week. All the shows sold out, but she would put her money into her show. And she made money. But the artists now, the really big artists that are popular, now, man, they don't want to pay the band squat. I had a chance to play with the Backstreet Boys, and these cats are playing stadiums, and they only wanted to pay me like $2,500 a week.
What? The Backstreet Boys in their heyday?
They're in their hey.
That vocal group, not boy band?
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, man.
$2,500 a week.
That's terrible.
Yeah, and they're playing stadiums, Jack, and selling them out. But, you say, okay, it's better than nothing. But I said, hey, something's got to be better than that. You just can't let them take advantage of you. But if you need it and you're trying to, make some changes, you're gonna do it.
Thanks, Ricky.
Oh, my pleasure. Good luck to you.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
In cases like George Duke's music,
Yes.
that seems just an orchestra's playing.
Yes.
When you guys in the studio, how do you put that together? Or someone like, Jeff Berlin, Tim Bogart,
Sure.
that type of.
Well, the beautiful thing about a guy like, say, George Duke, what he'll do, he'll write the song, and he'll just write licks in, and he wants certain things to happen, he'll write those in. But he'll give you the freedom to be yourself. Just like he didn't want me to play like Ndugu when I started playing his gig. He wanted me to play like Ricky, because that's ultimately how come I got the gig. And when he writes, he'll write letter A, letter B, and then if it's a lick, whatever, you have to play that lick, and then you go back to being you. And he gives you that freedom, and it's beautiful because it allowed me to help find myself as a player. Playing with the Yellowjackets, by me being one of the members of the band, I could play whatever I wanted to, and as long as it was okay with the rest of the cats, it was cool. When I do recording sessions, a lot of times they'll give me that freedom. They say it's an R&B feel, or it's a pop feel, or it's a rock feel, and I understand those things, and so I say, okay, great, let me hear what the song is, and then I say, okay, great, I play this in the first verse, play this in the intro, play this at the chorus, and then I just a lot of times the second verse is the same as the first. You just do the same thing you did over there, and just keep tap dancing back and forth, and it works.
Now, when you got, a bunch of tunes to learn, what is your set process on how to actually get those songs down quick, and at least convincingly enough to where it comes out pretty good, or else you have to kind of, mess with the rough edges or whatever? How do you do it?
Well, what I do the easy stuff first. The pop stuff, the R&B stuff, knock that stuff out quick.
Okay.
I make little notes. I write sometimes what they'll do, they'll give me music without charts. These guys gave me music without charts. So to stay ahead of them, I wrote out my own charts in terms of the form of the song. And then I just figured out some cool patterns that I could play in those songs. I notate those. Excuse me. And then, I had them ready for them. And I said, okay, how do you like this? How do you like this? How do you like that? He said, okay, use that. Nope, don't like that. Use that one. Okay. And I just bang them out. But I knock out the easy stuff first. Easy stuff first. Get ahead of yourself. And that way you can do the harder stuff on the backside. This particular album here, we started at 11. No, we started at noon. And I was finished by 7. And that was with a lunch break, too. We went over to BJ's and had lunch.
No way.
That's right. Yeah, had to go over to BJ's, get a beer.
This is something you've developed over years, right?
Oh,
This
yeah.
isn't just-
I enjoy playing, and it's nothing for me to do the homework. It took them actually longer to do the technical stuff than it did for me to play the songs. Because really the song's only about maybe 5 minutes, maybe 6 minutes long. So you spend 15 minutes or 20 minutes trying to play a song. Then the rest of it is archiving, saving, and storing, and going to and setting up the next session. So I was knocking out a song almost one every 20 minutes. But not that I was rushing through it. I was making sure that the client was happy, and anything that they wanted to try, it was okay, because I knocked out the easy stuff first. And then on the backside, then I started doing all the hard stuff. But I made myself notes. So when I got there, it wasn't as hard as I thought it might be. But, that's my process. Get the easy stuff out of the way.
That's awesome. Thanks.
Yay.
But thank you guys so much for coming and hanging. Thank you. Yes.